What do you want me to do about it?
Yes, I know. I think we're all in the same boat,
All right, so
regardless
here
of
we
what,
are.
you know.
I think we're live, everybody. So we're on. Technology is awesome. All right, so Jenny, welcome. So I want to welcome you on behalf of my partner Drew Swirsky, the Elite Real Estate Group, Tyler Holloway from the Productivity Program, United Program, and yours truly here from MAPS Coaching. Lab people, we're here today with a very special person, Ginny Grivas, and she's from Chefscape, an incredible company with a really cool concept. And we wanted to bring her today to share all the amazing things that she's doing with business, and just hear her story. So welcome, Jenny.
Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's awesome to have you. So tell us a little bit about Chefscape so that we all know what it's all about.
Yeah, so Chefscape's pretty interesting. It's a food business incubator. So really what that means is we've got a commercial shared kitchen platform that we provide to food and beverage industry. So whether you're a caterer, personal chef, maybe you make a product, we've even got a butcher, anything to do with food and beverage industry needs a commercial shared kitchen to operate out of, for their health department permits and agriculture permits. So we provide that. It's a lot like being in kind of a micro real estate platform. But then attached to it, we've got a food hall with 4 different food hall vendors, inviting restaurateurs wanting to go into brick and mortar, but not sure whether they want to spend their kids' entire college fund on that or, that whole bit. It's a bit of a high risk. So we give them the ability to kind of test it out. And then we also run a very large bar, providing a lot of great craft cocktails, which I think we've all had a lot of recently. And then we're a music venue as well too, because we believe in bringing artists together in live music along with great creations as far as food. So yeah, so we're based here in Leesburg, Virginia, but we also have a location in New York City.
Oh, that's very cool. So how long have you guys been doing this?
Our Leesburg location's an infant, really more of a toddler. It's only about 15 months old. But my partner and I, Rob Batchelder, we've been in the commercial shared kitchen business for about 4 years now. So it's been an interesting thing. It's what you're starting to see is an explosion of what they call ghost restaurants, which are those folks that don't necessarily want to have a brick and mortar, but they do want to have a presence, and food delivery and food pickup is becoming huge. So we're actually still fairly new at it.
So it's an interesting concept. So how do you go about finding them clients? So how do they find you? Because this is an interesting concept, right? You guys got the facilities, you provide a service. Do you guys actually go find the people that are doing this, or are they constantly looking for opportunities through you?
Believe it or not, we have more people that come to us than we go and pursue. I think it all starts off with that one person at your family table that says, damn, your salsa's good. You should sell this. And then that branches out into, well, how do I go about that? And when they start going through the process through the state or the county for business licenses and what's required for food production and food distribution, it's naturally occurring that, hey, you need a commercial shared kitchen. You just can't do it out of your house. So we're listed on a lot of different platforms for commercial shared kitchens. So we get a lot of folks that come to us as opposed to us going out to them. And even more so, I got to tell you, in the last 2 months, ever since the quarantine, it's been nonstop inquiries. So it's very interesting to see that shift.
So you guys were strategically positioned to make the best of the situation. So tell us a little bit about what are some of the lessons learned that you as a business and your partners have learned through this whole situation with COVID?
Gosh, so many different things that we've learned. I think one of them is there's a tremendous fear that's out there, not just with the consumers. With the consumers, yes, even after all the quarantines are lifted and we go in all these different phases and people are allowed to go back into restaurants again, you're going to see that those numbers aren't going to rapidly increase. It's not just like, field of dreams, build it and they will come. There's a lot of consumer fear. So one of the things that we've learned is we have to battle that fear. And the big fear is the contagion. Not so much that, yes, you can die from this. It's, oh my gosh, it's so contagious and I don't want to feel like crap for 17 days. So how do you tackle that? And we've realized that we've got to make an investment, and we have, in our air quality within the facility, using like UV light air scrubbers to kind of remove some of those contaminants, as well as just stepping up what our surface cleaning abilities are and the chemicals that we use that have to be safe, but to kind of handle the surface. So that from an air and surface quality, we've really learned a really tremendous lesson. But also just guiding the kitchen members that we have. In Leesburg, we have a little over 50. So it's 50 different permitted business licensed operations under one 16,000 square foot roof. And because we're extremely multicultural, it's sometimes there's a language barrier, there's a cultural barrier, and we have to teach them and show them how to pivot their business. How do you go from being a full-time caterer to all of a sudden doing made-to-order meals or meal planning to do delivery and try to survive? So it's been both on the consumer level and then also on the member level. And us, as even though we're micro real estate platform people, we have to kind of bring in our business minds and become consultants, to these individual groups.
Outstanding. Ty?
So I liked what you said about consultants. So let's just say that Drew and I made some fantastic barbecue. Like even some of our sober friends had said it was good, right? So what's our next step? How does a shared commercial kitchen and just what you were talking about with consulting, how does that move our business forward and move your business forward?
Yeah, well, what we do is we'll sit down with you and first of all, ensure that you've got your basics in line, your business plan, your business license, have you registered with your local entities, et cetera? Are you set up? And then we really look at what your marketing plan is, because that has got to be number one. You have to have a really strong marketing plan to line up where you're going to be serving, as well as having your customers come to try to find you. So we do work heavily with our kitchen members in kind of analyzing all their social media, everything that they're doing that's out there. And then we really work with you on a plan. We're month to month based. We don't believe in any kind of long-term type contracts. The food business is very fluctual, right? So a lot of times we'll have food trucks that come in and we only see them May to October. And then they're on the shelf. A lot of those people have another life, right? Another form of income. And it's a similar thing with barbecue too, because that's more of an outdoor type of food. Work with those guys to determine what are you doing in the wintertime, what are you doing in the off season, and how are you keeping your brand alive too, that whole entire year.
That's awesome. And I personally, and I love Master Chef, I love Gordon Ramsay, I love all of them. I've never heard of this. And I don't know if I'm just completely out of the curve, if you're like a visionary coming out of nowhere, a fantastic idea, but do you have competition in this? Or is this something that you like own the space?
No, absolutely. There is certainly competition. There just isn't a ton of it, because the real estate that you need to do what we do requires you to have a lot of kitchen under one roof. So to build that out is very, very expensive. So what we as a commercial kitchen are looking for when we go into our expansions are second generation restaurant spaces that are very large. Maybe they've gone defunct. Maybe they're in a certain area that the landlord is like, I need help driving traffic, or vice versa. I'm in an area where I don't need a lot of traffic, but it'd be great to be able to rent out this space. So, there's two different places that we look for when it comes to real estate and development. If we are building a food hall attached to our commercial shared kitchen, yes, we need to drive traffic to it. If it's just a commercial shared kitchen, I don't need foot traffic. That's just literally just membership based. But yeah, there's definitely a few of us around the country. We are the first one though that has actually married shared kitchen to food hall with bar and et cetera. And our food hall does rotate out our vendors. We try to do that about every 4 or 5 months or so, depending on how they do, which is really cool because inherently it gives me an excuse to do more and more marketing and throw more and more content out there. Because hey, soul food's being replaced by Peruvian's being replaced by Hawaiian. Like we're constantly moving stuff around, and as a consumer, you're getting yourself a different experience, every time you come in.
Man, you live in a great world. I can imagine being around all those different types of foods and.
Oh my God, I have to work out all the time.
So, what's your background? What did you do before this that prompted you to come up with this idea or want to get into a business like this?
That's a really good question. So actually, I'm an IT girl. Way back in the late 90s, I think a lot of us who got into IT at that time or were anywhere near it, you could practically breathe, the word IT and someone would snatch up and hire you. And I was an engineer for a little while, and then I went into sales engineering, and I started a tech company with my ex-husband called Vinatech, which we did in 2002, right after 9/11. Because after 9/11, Department of Homeland Security was built, and if you were anywhere involved in security, you were just sucked into that vortex. So I did that for a long time, but honestly, it really was never my passion. I loved sales, but I loved event planning, and I loved food, and I loved working with smaller business owners that had a passion for something, but didn't really know how to execute it on a business level. And I think that's what we find with anyone who is an artist, and food is an art. Anyone who's an artist gets into that business, not because they just love spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. They're not quick and experts. These are guys that just love what they do. So I really had a passion on working with them to determine what direction they could go in, how to help them grow, and give them that baseline support to let them grow in a low risk format. So at heart, I guess I would kind of call myself like a business strategist. I'm a super creative person. I talk a lot. I don't know if you guys will tell, but that's kind of a weird segue that I went from IT and business strategy into applying it to food.
So when Tyler used he and I had some really cool barbecue, and we come in to meet with you, and we want to use the kitchen, and we're going to get a truck and all that. How do you charge someone? How does someone pay to get the services you provide? Not just the use of the kitchen, but you mentioned that you'll be like, hey, do you have a business plan and things like that, right? How do you quantify someone paying that?
Yeah, so when it comes to actual hours of usage, so the prep and your cooking time, we work on a credit-based plan. So on a monthly basis, you'll pick a package A, B, C, or D based upon what your needs are. Maybe you want to start off slow and just have maybe 20 or 30 hours in the kitchen a month, just to kind of see how it goes. And then as you grow, you can pick 30 hours, 40 hours, and maybe even go unlimited. So that's how we charge on a monthly basis. And we let you retract as well, too. As I mentioned, food trucks is a good point. May to October is their heyday, but then as it gets past that, we'll go ahead and ratchet back their plan down to the very bare minimum for them to hang on to their health department permit that they need to have, because they still have to have storage, et cetera. And then when it comes to this plan and that whole bit, we actually work with a really, really great group in the area, which is the Small Business Development Center, operated as a part of George Mason University. And it's awesome. It's a group of professionals that volunteer their time into this to specifically counsel small business. Because the one thing that we have to be careful of, because our business is such a massive animal, is making sure that we stay in our lane. Because sometimes there's businesses out there that do way more than they should, and that's where you get in trouble and everything crumbles right across the board. So we value our partnerships, and we work with our partners to do that. Same thing with marketing. We all know a little bit about marketing. I think you just can't help it now in this day and age, but we're not necessarily a marketing expert, and we're not going to be a marketing expert necessarily in Asian food or barbecue or Indian food, et cetera. But what we do is we partner with our local marketing partners and teach them what macro marketing is versus micro marketing, and the difference between content, and those things. So that's what we do, is really get them involved in a group of partnerships, because I think one of the best lessons I've ever learned in business is to never, ever, ever be the smartest person in the room. Yeah, so you've got to have those partnerships to surround you.
So, I mean, you're talking about leverage. So tell me, how big is your organization, or the people that you work with directly?
Yeah, so believe it or not, we are very low in overhead because of how we operate. So from an employee standpoint, in just our Leesburg facility, there's 7 of us. As far as the number of members, though, we've got over 50 members, and each of them has between 3 and 4 employees. So you can imagine the way that it tiers down, it gets very, very large in that way. But because the way that we operate makes it that low overhead, our expenses are relatively operationally low in that sense. And it's the same thing in our New York facility. New York is a little bit different. Of course, right now, New York is pretty much shut down in the city, but we're in the South Street Seaport right outside the...
Well, that's a great location.
Yeah, you know what? It is a great location. It's right in the financial district, and it's an interesting one. We call that our Chefscape amenity line. So, for example, you've seen these big 40 and 50 story, office buildings. And a lot of them, if you've ever been to them, wherever you are in this country, they have cafeterias that are built into them way back in the day, so that those real estate brokers had a great amenity that they could sell someone into their space, at X per square foot. You've got your own food downstairs, you got a market. Well, in New York City, the competition is so high that we proposed an idea at the 180 Maiden Lane building that we take their cafeteria and flip it into the building's personal food hall. So it already has an enormous commercial shared kitchen. All those big buildings have one at least 10,000 square feet in size. So we turned that into a shared kitchen, but then in the downstairs, it's a rotating food hall. And that all of a sudden became like, whoa, the newest, coolest thing for a broker to sell their next tenant into. So that's been really, really interesting as well, but still low overhead as far as our business is concerned, because again, it's spread down through, you're managing vendors. So those vendors manage their employees.
That's outstanding. And that's a great concept as well. Leverage, low overhead. That's just the way to do it. Now, let me ask you, give us some highlights. What are some of the highlights that you've had throughout your career on this business specifically that you're really proud of?
Wow. Okay. So I think the stuff that I'm really proud of is when we see a kitchen member eventually go on, especially restaurateurs, eventually go on to their own brick and mortars, and not just one location, but then they open 2 locations and 3 locations. That's where I see it really being successful, is to help a business owner in the F&B world achieve their dream, because the failure rate is so ridiculously high in food and beverage, right? We all know this. So to see that is really amazing. And then also to see, somebody who's had this dream, but maybe they're in their 50s now and their 60s, and they're kind of taking that leap. And when they see their product being distributed in stores for the first time, that's really exciting too. It makes us really see that we are fulfilling a need, and that we're able to help people operate a food and beverage business without such tremendous risk and investment. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so we're now in the time in the interview where we're going to something we call rapid fire. And this is something where we ask you questions that you have to do your best to answer as fast as you can without thinking too much.
Okay.
No flexing on the screen though. I know you were flexing the muscles, but not this time. All right, you ready, Drew?
I'm ready. Tyler, did you have another question? I saw you lean in before.
Oh yeah, if you have another question, man, go.
Oh.
This is
I was just going to ask you, because we mentioned being around all that food and how we all would have gained like 20 pounds, and you mentioned working out. So one thing that we talk a lot about with people in the lab is the importance of taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally. And I've worked in restaurants. That's not an easy job. So what do you do to take care of yourself and keep yourself going so you can give your best to your clients?
You have to think about yourself first every single morning. You just have to. It's really, really hard. I'm the kind of person, maybe like a lot of business people are, that you wake up and your cup of coffee, sit down, oh my gosh, I just got to address those emails, and those to-dos were just bothering me all night long. But if you do not make yourself the number one priority when you wake up and go and do some kind of a workout, I don't care if it's 20 minutes, just do it. And then that just sets the tone for the rest of the day, by being able to do that. And then I also just have to be careful how much I taste of everything that's made, walk by and all thing. And, and it's not easy to be a bar owner and not have to be there every Tuesday when the brewing company comes in to do all their taste tests for the next month's products. It's tough, but it's a difficult job. It's a difficult job. But yeah, again, you have to think of yourself as you got to be selfish in that way. You have to take care of you. What's that old adage, right? You can never take care of anyone else if you don't take care of you. Like if you're
100%.
Right, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your own kid.
Absolutely, 100%. So, and listen, if you ever need anybody to volunteer to come and do some tastings, just give us a call. The lab would love to show up.
Or Bubbles and Brews. Something on your website said Bubbles and Brews. Sounded catchy to me.
Yeah. That's actually a vehicle that will show up in your driveway, Tyler. And then you can just go out and you can tap whatever you want.
Oh my so cool. God.
That's awesome.
I know, right? Drew's mind's blown too. Okay. All right.
I'm blown.
All right, Drew, you ready to shoot some rounds down range?
I don't know. I'm ready for some bubbles. I'm ready, but Tyler, Eric took one of my questions, so I'm ready. Let's go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, these questions have mostly absolutely nothing to do with anything you talked about.
Great.
We want to get to know you as a person. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Favorite style of cuisine?
Ooh, Mexican.
Ooh. Favorite workout exercise?
My V-shred, my Beachbody V-shreds.
So I said, can I volunteer as a taster? But Eric took that, so we'll skip him. What's your favorite meal so far you've had during the quarantine?
Oh my gosh, smoked salmon.
So
Salmon,
you're in
salmon.
the gym and you exercise a lot. What's the one snack that ruins your workout
Oh man.
that you love, love, love?
Oh, peanut M&Ms.
Oh boy, they're good. Those are really good.
Yeah, that's really
Last show you binge watched?
Dead to Me.
Favorite movie?
Oh,
Of all time.
Princess Bride,
Oh, that's a good one.
for sure.
Dog's name?
His name is Wilson, named after the volleyball from Castaway.
Wilson!
Yeah.
Last book you read?
Can it be a manual?
No comment.
Sure, it can be a manual.
It can be a manual, yes.
Do you watch sports? Do you watch sports at all?
I did when they were playing, yes.
What's the one sport you miss the most? Pro.
Gosh, I actually really do like football.
Okay, here's the final question, and this means a lot. Who's your favorite football team?
Washington Redskins.
Finally, somebody.
Finally, Drew got one.
Finally.
Yeah.
You notice
So
the
excited.
tone and how I said that, Drew. I'm like, Washington Redskins.
Oh, yeah, me
But
too.
I still said it. I still said
Yeah.
it.
Oh, thank you. I'm flexing with you. Thank you so much for participating in the rapid fire.
Yeah, we've had several of this, and this is one of the ones that he actually got lucky. Because a lot of they've said it, every other team except the Redskins. So he gets one for today. Yep. Excellent. Well, Jenny, before we go anywhere, we'd like to let our audience know where they can find you. They want to know more about you and your business. Where do they find you?
Yeah, so come and find us on www.chefscapekitchen.com. So it's chef like a chef's hat, scape like landscape, kitchen.com. We're in downtown Leesburg, in the village at Leesburg. We're getting ready to open for phase 1 in the state of Virginia. Woohoo! With our outdoor dining. So we're looking forward to trying to pull that off, because let me tell you, this whole extension, I guess we're being allowed to go into parking lots and stuff. So we're going to do some online reservable dining tents in various different themes. So it'll be fun, but come and see us.
Excellent. So now everybody knows. You heard it here in the lab. Come again, Drew?
We should do a live show from there when they get going.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
do it.
It'll be fun.
Well, Jenny, I want to thank you for coming in here to see us on behalf of my partner, Drew Swirsky from the Elite Real Estate Group, Tyler Holloway from the PC United Group, and yours truly here from MAPS Business Coaching. Thank you for joining us today and tell us your story. We really appreciate it. And know that you're officially a member of the lab now. And we'd love to continue to see you and see your success in the near future and for many years to come.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much. I hope to see you guys very soon.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hail to
Jenny.
the Redskins.
Yeah. HTTR.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya.